Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by lifelong friend, maybe frenemy at some points, but it's okay. We still love each other. Mr. Robert Lentini. He's been covering wrestling for the past decade, now a writer for Sportskeeda. And my friend Bob, we have so much to talk about this week because we are here. The producers cannot tell us we're off live TV. We're still going forward with it. It is WrestleMania weekend. It is happening right now. 2 nights of WrestleMania. In this entire show, we're going to be breaking down every single match, how we got here, what we expect, and predictions for the night of from WrestleMania for both evenings, as well as talking about one of, once again, the biggest interviews in wrestling, in the wrestling world right now, headed by Mr. CM Punk. So much to talk about. Not a lot of AEW this episode, but that's okay. But before we go into it, Bob, let me start off by asking you the same thing I asked you on our very first show, and we were breaking down our very first pay-per-view. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you in Hulk Hogan underwear getting ready to watch WrestleMania 3, him body slamming Andre the Giant on the mat. How excited are you for WrestleMania weekend?
Well, I'm going to say I'm at an 8, and that's pretty high. I think it would have been at like a 9 or 10, not at a 9 if CM Punk was actually wrestling for the title. Like, that would have been everything, but of course, Fragile Phil gets injured, and here we are. But overall, I'm at an 8 out of 10. The card is stacked. We're going to go over every match tonight. We're going to not talk about some that aren't so important, but we'll just give our predictions and move on. But overall, the entire card is stacked. The Rock showing up. Just everything is too. It's a culminate. Everything's coming together for WWE at the perfect time. And as we get into this Punk interview in a bit, everything's kind of falling apart for AEW at also the inopportune time, if you will. But what's your excitement level for WrestleMania?
Well, as definitely the outsider fan, I watch WWE, but not as much as you do. I'm much more into AEW. I'll be watching both nights of WrestleMania, popcorn ready, going forward as much as we can. We're going to try to fit a live show in there. So I'm very excited for this. There are some matches that I cannot wait to not care about and text you how dumb the Pride are. But there are most matches I'm going to really, really enjoy and I've been really looking forward to because of the build that has been happening. And when you say WWE is on the upswing, AEW is on the downswing, let's jump right in. Before we get to WrestleMania, we have to talk about the biggest news from wrestling this week, and it is CM Punk sitting down with Ariel Helwani to go through pretty much everything that happened during his AEW run. And as much last week, we had a video go kind of, big for us, and it was very true how much I dislike CM Punk. I've never been a CM Punk fan. I don't enjoy him at all. And to see him in WWE does nothing for me. And to see this interview, I have to say, I have never been more intrigued, been more liked an interview more with a hot air balloon before in my life. That's all I got to say. So the 3 biggest things from the interview, Bob. The interview went on forever. He said a lot, but let's narrow it down to the 3 biggest things. What's the first thing that sort of stuck out to you from this interview that you want to touch on?
Well, the first thing is his comments about Hangman Page. We got a little bit of clarity on that situation. And if you've living under a rock in the world of professional wrestling for the past few years, what happened with Hangman Page and CM Punk kind of needs to be studied, because Hangman Page just dropped a line on a promo that wasn't scripted, hinting that CM Punk got Colt Cabana fired. This was this report with Dave Meltzer that was leaked, probably by the Elite. CM Punk definitely thinks it was by the Elite, and that led to the end of everything. That led to CM Punk turning against the company, and they had this promo before the match at Double or Nothing. CM Punk defeats Hangman Page at Double or Nothing, but he felt like he was they were trying to like dim his star, was I think the cringeworthy words he used. But yes, but what he said about Hangman Page after that promo, he went up to him backstage and he said, I spoke to him and was like, why'd you do that? He thinks I got one of his friends fired, which he didn't. He thinks he got Hangman Page thought that he got Colt Cabana fired, which has never been proven. But I went to Tony Khan, the lawyer said, you need to fix that, because if I do, you're not going to like how I fix it. And I thought I was being professional by not just murdering him on television. I know some people are going to be upset about that, going to be like, oh, he's talking about that guy again. But with me, respect is the default. I respect everybody until you do something that makes me lose my respect for you. And I had never done anything to any of those guys beforehand. So that's where we get off on this. What do you like? Here's my thing. Like, the comment itself, when it was made by Hangman Page in that promo, the workers' rights thing, that infamous line, I thought literally nothing of it when he said it. I was like, what the hell? That was a weird line. And then it snowballs into this thing. But here's my point that I want to say. Like, CM Punk obviously holds a grudge like nobody else in the world, right?
Uh-huh.
But if they actually went over the promo beforehand, like he said to Helwani, and they went over the points, and then you go out there and just completely change it, and this is the World Heavyweight Championship, this is their main feud, go ahead and do a pay-per-view. Hangman Page deserves some blame too, but the way Punk responded, then 2 months later, after he freaking dove off the stage and broke his foot because he can never stay healthy, 2 months later he comes back in response to Hangman Page and calls him the coward shit in West Virginia. That's CM Punk being petty, but it started with Hangman. But what are your thoughts on Punk's comments about Hangman Page? I know you got to diss him. Just get it over with.
Well, first off, we have to take this entire story from CM Punk as truth. And if we are to do that this segment,
everyone else has to sign an NDA apparently, so we have to.
If we have to take this as truth that they met backstage and talked about the promo, and then Hangman went out there and immediately went off script, and CM Punk couldn't really hear him, and he was struggling to hear him because he had to make sure, TV is very expensive, everything that he said in that, to all get to Hangman screwed Hangman to start this off. Then yes, Hangman absolutely deserves some of the blame, but as you said in the very beginning, and as I've said, I've rewatched that promo a bunch. Every time this CM Punk story comes up, I go I must be misremembering what Hangman Page said, and I go and rewatch it. And I'm like, that's wrestling. Everything that happened in that ring that evening was wrestling. They're trying to win over the crowd, be the reason why I need to beat you because of this, that, and the other thing, you MF or blah. Like, that's all wrestling. It was building to a match that made me really excited to see it. And if CM Punk felt he got slighted by Hangman Page, again, like, you could act one of two ways. There are two paths you can go down when you are slighted, and CM Punk chose the one to burn every bridge that was ever built in front of him. CM Punk did not have to sit down in the middle of the ring and challenge Hangman Page to come out for this belt when he knew Hangman Page wasn't in the building. Of course, Hangman's not going to show up and then look like a pussy because he didn't answer the call from CM Punk. If it all started with Hangman, absolutely Hangman deserves some of the blame. But you can't lift any of the blame off of CM Punk for continuing down the road. Sometimes you need to be a bigger man. And when it comes to being a bigger man, can we talk about Jack Perry?
Oh, God. Yes, we can talk about the Jack Perry incident and All In. But this is what I just want to, on the Hangman thing, he did say he went to Tony Khan and to the lawyer and said, take care of that, and nothing happened. So that's... They're going to be a through. That's going to be a through.
CM Punk's word is gospel. Absolutely. But if you went to your boss and said, hey, you got to take care of my coworker or I'm going to take care of it, what do you think your boss would do? But keep going.
Probably not nothing. Probably not nothing.
Sure. Not nothing not nothing to you. You better take care of this coworker or I'm going to take care of it. Interesting words to say.
All right. But then we get to the Jack Perry incident. There's a little bit of backstory in case you have been living under a rock again. There's story time with Robert Lentini, baby. CM Punk led the first match of it all in 2023 at Wembley was CM Punk versus Samoa Joe on the main card for the Real World Championship. Right before that, Hook battled Jungle Boy and the FTW, the title that nobody cares about match.
Now they got Jungle Boy for the first time turning heel. Jungle Boy.
He's Jungle Man now. Jack Perry.
I think it's pivotal to this story. But keep going.
Yeah, you're right. I guess. So what Punk describes his story as: Tony Schiavone, producer Mike Mansouri, Daryl from production, someone else all told Jack Perry in a rental car, dude, you can't smash a window with a lead pipe. And then Punk goes up to him, and I thought this was very hilarious. He's like,
no, you're missing a step. They went to Punk and said, can you please help and talk to Jack? They were begging on their knees, please, Punk, come save us. Keep going.
Well, and then he went up to Jack Perry and said, it's a rental car. I love that line. Just, it's a rental car. You can't just smash the window and not return it. And then he went, that's the main thing. That's the backstory. Jack Perry wanted to smash a rental car window, according to CM Punk, and 5 people told him no, and he cursed them all out. And finally, Punk said, "It's a fucking rental car." What are you doing? You can't just smash the window of a rental car and return it.
Which, with Punk's words, Jack immediately backed off and said, "No, you're right. You're right."
No, he said, I thought it'd be a really cool idea.
Yeah,
And
but
Punk said,
there
yeah,
was no
yeah.
fighting Jack Perry that day. Fast
No,
forward to
no, we don't do this stuff on Saturdays. Do it on Wednesday was his exact. We don't do this on Collision. Go to Dynamite. Just egos clashing more there. And then we get to All In. Jack Perry versus Hook. During the match, he bangs on the windshield of a car and says, "Real glass, cry me a river." I think he's the one who gets slammed on it. I don't even remember. He loses the match.
He is. It's wrestling. He is.
Yeah.
It was fantastic.
It loses the match, goes backstage. Punk confronts him. He says he has people there, his friends, but he doesn't want to name them in case they get punished for being his friends and all of the wrestling. And he said he confronted after he went to Tony Khan first and said, "You got to do something about this." And Tony Khan said, "What do you want me to do?" And CM Punk says, "I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Be the fucking boss." And then he did. Tony Khan just sat there, I guess. And then Jack Perry walks to the backstage. Jack Perry said, Punk says, "Why do you want to do this internet shit on television?" This is all according to Punk. Perry says, "Why don't you do something about it?" And Punk says, "Dude, I could fucking kill you." And he's laughing when he says this with Helwani. And then he said, "I thought I was doing the responsible thing. I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit," which is just such a ridiculous line.
Mm-hmm.
But moving past that one, we get to, he says, that's what he says. "I didn't punch anybody. I just choked somebody a little bit. Samoa Joe was there and told me to stop, and then I quit. I turned to Tony Khan and said, 'This place is a fucking joke, man, and you're a clown. I quit.'" And then Samoa Joe and Jerry Lynn talked him into having the match.
Convinced him to do the match, and they went and have a match, and then he quits. Yeah.
That's where we're at with the Jack Perry incident. Jack Perry still has not returned to AEW. He's the scapegoat in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's tore up his contract. He's the rebel. He's the bad boy. Just not allowed in AEW. But that was his comments on Jack Perry. We get some clarity on CM Punk's side of things. There's no NDA, so Jack Perry can respond at any moment. Mm-hmm. So what you have a lot to say about this? I can tell. We'll go back and forth about this, but I think we're going to disagree on this one as well. What are your thoughts on CM Punk's comment?
Let me tell you one thing. Jack Perry and his build aside, like the Jack Perry-esque of this aside, Jack Perry going into business for himself, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe a fucking word of this from CM Punk. I don't believe the tenor of this in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. That Jack Perry was backstage yelling at crew members who, again, every story that has ever come out of Jack Perry before this moment was, dude, he's awesome to work with. He's a rich kid's son, but he's so down to earth. Everyone loves working with him. Everyone loves Jack Perry. But no, this day, Jack Perry came to work with a fucking, like, he had to get his way. And everyone, Tony Schiavone, the guy grabbing coffee, the producer, the doctor, F you, middle fingers to everybody. No, I'm breaking this window. And they go crawling on their hands and knees. Mr. Phil, come save us, please. Jack Perry's so scary. His hair's on fire. He won't listen to any of us. And Phil comes walking in his big suit to say,
he's a showrunner.
Mr. Jack, let me show you why this is incorrect. And Jack Perry immediately, he was yelling at everybody before, but now Phil shows up, a man that probably they haven't interacted one bit, and immediately goes, "Oh, well, you're right. I won't do it anymore," and goes back to his trailer and everything's fine. Until once again, the person who made the first false step was never CM Punk. It was Jack on live pay-per-view to say to the camera, "Real glass MFer," playing into a storyline that is out into the open. Everyone knew what was going on when he said that moment. He is playing the heel character, a heel character that was not working. And this man, a performer, is struggling to get this heel character over, trying to take Jungle Boy Jack Perry to the new realm of whatever that character can be on wrestling television. Points at the camera, inside baseball. This is going to make people pop. This is me trying to get myself over. And then what happens to the real glass? I'm the one that takes it because I'm the heel laying down to the baby face. It was a wrestling moment that pissed CM Punk off again. So I don't believe a fucking word of the backstory. And I believe still that there was nothing wrong with what Jungle Boy Jack Perry did in the moment on pay-per-view, and that Phil overreacted in the back. And if you're going to, if Samoa Joe was the saving grace back there and stopped everything, and it was just a choke out and Jack Perry initiated physical conflict again, we're believing CM Punk before hearing any other side of this story or any other dirt sheet whatsoever. But to me, That's where I stand on it. Nothing new from my angle.
Yeah, no, I just completely disagree on the. I mean, I agree with you on CM Punk overreacting, and he should have gotten over. And under no circumstances should he ever put his hands on anybody else. That's the crux. I disagree with that. There's no reason to punch somebody, choke somebody. That's 30-year ago behavior in wrestling that he clearly is never going to get out of his system. But yeah, I just don't agree with everybody knew about it. It was like the internet audience knows about it. I knew about it. People read Dave Meltzer knew about the glass thing, but not everybody knew about it. And it's a weird, just on camera to the TV. It seems like you're just begging for something to happen there. To me, if you're not running it, talking to Punk personally, you're not running it with him, you have no communication with him, and you just go on in business for yourself the same way that Hangman Page did. It feels like I can see where he felt like nobody wanted him there, which is really sad because he was their biggest draw, and he probably will be their biggest draw that they're going to get for years and years and years. So this is a huge setback for them. But yeah, I agree with some of your points. Like, I agree with him being wrong about the way he handled it. I mean, I'm not that big of a fanboy. I'm not going to sit here and say CM Punk did everything right. He did a ton wrong. He did a ton wrong. Putting his hands on Jack Perry, number one. But Jack Perry, of all people, talking shit about CM Punk unsolicited on camera, I just don't agree with. But let's move on.
I don't think he talked shit about CM Punk on camera. I think he talked shit about the moment that AEW.
Who else would he been talking about?
We'll get to this next point right now. AEW is all about the smart marks. AEW is all about the Meltzer ratings. AEW is all about the internet wrestling community. That's the target audience, the target demo. And that's who Jack Perry was playing towards when he mentioned that moment. This is real glass MFer. I don't believe he was taking a shot at Phil. I believe he was acting as a heel in that moment, trying to play to the audience that he wants to play to. And obviously, it spiraled out of control. I did not agree with many of the things CM Punk said during this interview. I'm also never have been on CM Punk's side. The one thing I did agree with was him saying that Tony Khan is not a boss, that this wrestling company is failing because there are people in the wrestling company that are focused more on five-star matches than they are getting people in the door and selling tickets. And I believe he said if that's the case, they're not in the same business as I am. That part, I agreed with wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I'll just read you the actual quote real quick as a quick one. He said, I know a lot of people are going to be upset, but it's just not a real business. It's not about selling tickets, not about drawing money. It's not about making money. It's just not. Then he was asked, what do you think it is about? I don't know, having good matches maybe. So there was my main takeaway from this, watching this interview, and I went back and watched some old Punk things after, like his first couple of things on Dynamite. He didn't go there sour. Like, he wanted it to work, and then things just drastically fell apart. And my whole takeaway is it was never going to work. It was absolutely never going to work with these personalities because Tony Khan is like the richest guy on the planet that just loves wrestling and he wants to have these dream matches. And he's like, all right, we'll have CM Punk, and we're going to, oh my God, they fought. Let's create a new show. We'll separate it. That's going to work. And we learned in this interview that Punk said, just let me go. He didn't want to do Collision. He wanted to get out of there after all in 2020, all out 2022, the brawl out situation. Realistically, he probably should have just been fired then. That would have been the best situation for everyone. Yes. But they tried to make it work with the Collision, and I like that part. I believe Punk there that he wanted out, and he didn't even want anything to do with Collision. I believe him there, and he said, Tony, this isn't going to work. And Tony just wanted to make it work, and the only way that would have ever worked is if Tony Khan or somebody in position of power got those guys in a room and said, you don't have to like each other at all. But we got you're destroying our company from within, and we're trying to take on WWE, and they're getting rid of all their problems, it seems, while we're just running in But it's just very disappointing. But my main takeaway from all of it, from the entire interview, is that it was destined to fail. Just the attitudes of the elite, what they think professional wrestling is, what they think, their style. I don't agree with. CM Punk obviously doesn't agree with, but there's a place for it. But now it can't be the whole show. And I think that was Punk's whole point. Like, you can have it in spurts and bits, these 5-star, spot fest matches. But if it's the entire show, it's not a sustainable business. And I completely agree with that, because you try watching 2 hours of unbelievable matches after each, it's just with no story, it gets boring. You need the story. I need to be invested in the characters.
And you also need to care about the people involved, and they need to care about each other if they're going to work together. And clearly CM Punk was not made for that world. However, when it comes to culture, the last thing we're going to say about CM Punk, we've already spent far too long on him. We're going to do all the WrestleMania preview matches coming up very shortly. But the one thing I want to say, and we had talked about this right before we started recording, this quote to me is what I sent to Bob offline and wanted to talk about, because to me it perfectly encapsulates how CM Punk views himself and the world. The quote was, and this has to go with the how WWE is now versus what it was. CM Punk stated that somebody explained to him, "I'm super glad that you're back here, CM Punk. I'm super glad that you, CM Punk, are back here so you can experience the culture backstage that you helped create, because you were a catalyst for it. Then you left, and now you're back." I don't believe this interaction ever happened. I believe someone probably said, like, "Phil, I can't wait for you to see how WWE is now versus what it was when you were last here." That I believe. Someone coming up to him and saying, "You created this nirvana. Look at the heaven that you've built with you were the martyr. You were the Jesus on the cross, and this is your heaven that you get to walk into." That I will never believe. And I believe that if you took some of CM Punk's quotes from this MMA Hour and you put Donald Trump's voice over them, they would sound like the same person. That's just me. That's just me. So take that for however you want.
Unfortunately, they'd also be two of the most popular people in entertainment, right? That's just the way the world works.
That's
the people that say the crazy shit, the people that say the viral shit, they get it. The nice guys with the awkward standing Tony Khan stand in front of the cameras, they don't get elected. That's just the way the world works.
No, they do not. No, they do not. Speaking of the most popular thing, let's move on to WrestleMania, shall we? Jesus Christ. Spend 20 minutes on CM Punk.
I could talk about it for an hour, but let's just move on.
still have 12, 13 matches to go through.
Yeah.
WrestleMania, Bob, 2 nights. Let's start out with the night one. Let's start out with matches that we believe aren't really going to matter. First up, it's the Family Feud. Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee versus Santos Escobar and Dominic Mysterio. Let me ask you this. For some of these miniature matches, the matches that don't really matter, matches that don't have a title belt, I'm going to ask you as the WWE insider here, why should the outside fan care? Like, if I'm turning on WrestleMania, I haven't seen wrestling in a year. Don't got to explain to me the backstory, but why does this tag match matter, or does it not matter?
Well, it matters because Dominic Mysterio and Rey Mysterio had the rivalry last year. There's a little story there, like Rey beat him last year. But other than that, unless you're really into the Latino World Order versus Legado del Fantasma feud on SmackDown, which I personally am not, there's not a whole lot here. This is kind of just let's kill 10 minutes, get Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio entrance and move on. But I think we're going to have Dominic and Santos get the win here, because I don't think they have Dominic lose to his dad at back-to-back WrestleManias. That's my prediction on that.
If that's the case, let's just move on with the picks. I think you explained it perfectly. I'll go with the dad. I'll go with Rey Mysterio. Who cares? Because who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Moving on, though, another match that should matter based on the people in it, but I'm not sure if the bill deserves it. It's Bianca Belair, Naomi, and the debuting Jade Cargill versus Damage Control, Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. There are no titles on the line here, but there is a lot of bad blood, and you want to talk about how much you're happy that Jade Cargill is on a WrestleMania card.
Yeah, I had episode 4 or whatever, I was yelling and ranting about Bianca Belair, what they're going to do. She has to have a showcase match with Jade Cargill or Tiffany Stratton. I guess Tiffany Stratton drew the short stick and is not going to be on the card. But Jade Cargill made her debut as a SmackDown superstar. She's been just lingering around for months, just once a month. There she is backstage in the corner, just lingering around. Finally, we get to see her entrance and her presentation. And I was saying, like, what does WWE plan for her? They're obviously going to use her as a special attraction with that entrance. Mm-hmm. They're not going to have her wrestle too much and show her weaknesses. They're going to accentuate the positives of her. And I was wrong about WWE not having a plan, because that entrance was epic. I don't know if you saw it, but she looked like a freaking star. She looks great. But as for this match, Bianca Belair, Jade Cargill, and Naomi versus Damage Control, don't care. Just don't care about it. I wanted to see they're the women's tag team champions are in this match. Have a women's tag team championship match. Have Bianca Belair team with Naomi, and then have Jade Cargill do something else. But they're just protecting Jade Cargill in this. They're having a 6 person tag match to protect Jade Cargill. She'll do a couple spots, maybe get the pin, but the baby faces are winning because it's not a title match. Jade, Bianca, and Naomi are winning this one.
I agree with you on the prediction. I agree with everything you said about Jade Cargill, but I want to ask you, do you believe that Bianca Belair deserves better on the WrestleMania card?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know whether this is a weird year, I guess. The Bayley versus Io Sky was hot for a while, and that's kind of been just dragging. Yeah. So, but yeah, I would have liked to see her in a bigger match. The women's tag team title match would have been better for this. Belair and Cargill or Belair and Naomi versus the Kabuki Warriors. The fact that it's just a 3v3 6-person tag match, it just feels like a time killer.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, it really does, and it's really sad because I love almost everyone in this match. I mean, I don't dislike anyone in this match. I love as a wrestler. I think Bianca Belair can sell out a stadium. I think Jade Cargill is definitely an attraction, but will eventually build to something that could potentially sell out a stadium. There are so many awesome people, Asuka, in this match that I just think this is a waste of time. But I'm with you. I think the baby faces are winning. Let's move on to a match that should be a lot of fun, no matter how we got here. The 6-pack ladder match, the one thing that Shane McMahon brought that is still in WWE from when he ran it that one time is the 6-pack challenge, the 6-pack ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships. We have the Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Finn Balor versus Awesome Truth, Miz and R-Truth. That's where the storyline begins and really ends. But we have 4 more teams in here for whatever reason. DIY, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa still a tag team. The New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. I think it's in their contract that they have to be in a tag team championship match at WrestleMania. It's I couldn't believe the name of this. The New Catch Republic. I did not know that was the name for Butch and the Femme, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And then finally, the A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. My friend, so many ways we can go for this match. Are you excited for this? The neutral fan's going to care because there's 12 people in the ring doing awesome shit. This is going to be a fun match. But do you care?
No, I don't care. I don't care about the result of the match. I'm excited for a ladder match at WrestleMania. It'll be fun. And then there's as soon as Waller and Theory qualified, there's been a report by Meltzer that maybe WWE's reconsidering having them in the match. So I don't know if they're going to replace them with some kind of veteran team surprise. Maybe the Hardys.
Team we'll see, but A-Town Down Under. What?
Yeah,
that's the name of the team. That doesn't sell T-shirts. You're telling me?
Yeah, but we'll see I don't think they're going to do that. But I don't care about this. The Judgment Day's title reign has been they're just they're arguing with each other backstage. It's it doesn't matter. Their undisputed tag team title reign just does not matter. And I'm just waiting for Damian Priest to break off and cash in his Money in the Bank contract. But someone's going to take the titles from them. I'll go with Awesome Truth as a laugh. The Miz, like you said, that's the only storyline. Are we going to agree on that one?
No, I'm not. I'm going to take a different prediction, but I agree with you. It could definitely happen. But I'm all about the New Day. I have been for a long time. Anytime the belts are in the New Day, the belts are in a good position.
I miss
the
Big
belts
E.
in the New Day. I know. I miss Big E too. But I'm all about the New Day. That's my prediction. Here's another match that we talked about for a long time. And we wanted this build to be a lot different than it was. And I feel like when you talk about how The Rock is taking away from Roman Reigns in this build with Cody, I agree. You're completely correct. But I believe another match has been caught in the wake of that build, and it has not led to good things. Because when you have a lifelong tag team of twin brothers, and who have won more championships than really anyone as a tag team, one of the biggest tag teams of all time. And you have these twin brothers now, babyface and a heel, face off of each other at WrestleMania. To me, that needs to be a blood feud like no other. To me, that needs to be these guys. Truthfully, there is one guy that is just an absolute terrible, violent heel, and the other babyface is just struggling to keep up. So much could have gone into this. And when it's Jimmy Uso versus Jey Uso, am I wrong for saying I do not care about this match?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I'm just very disappointed with the build to this because Jey Uso, I don't even remember. I think it's the Battleground podcast. I just pulled that name out of my ass. I don't know. I remember, but he said that it would be a dream match against his brother. This was months ago at WrestleMania because their storyline would be like no other. It would be real.
Yeah.
It would feel real. That's
Yeah.
what he was saying. Like that, the build up's
Twin,
gonna be
like
better than
legit shoot twin brothers.
yeah. And they didn't do that at all. They didn't get that feeling out of anyone at all. I don't think they captured that. They just made it like he's pissed that he left the bloodline still, and he's just attacking him during matches. I wanted like weeks of back and forth like this when you were a kid, F you, like that. Like that's what I wanted. We didn't get any of that. So I'm going into this match just Jey Uso has to win, right? He's the only one that's really worth anything in this match. Because Jimmy Uso as a single star does nothing. Jey Uso has potential as a single star, but they need to be back together as a tag team eventually too. But yeah, just overall not invested in this match as I thought I would be. But I got to pick Jey Uso to win. He has to.
I'm right there with you, and it doesn't matter if he wins or loses. Like he should win. It doesn't matter. Yeah. It doesn't. This win does nothing for either of them, nor does the loss because of how little this build has mattered. They come from a wrestling family. You know how much footage they got to have on them as children just because they were probably in the building 90% of the time? Like so much could have gone into telling the story of this and lead into the overarching theme of this is the Bloodlines WrestleMania. Like there was so much that could have gone into this. And I understand The Rock and Roman are what that's going to be on camera the whole time. Like that's what people care about. But there are, not everything's a main card feud. This is an absolutely worthy middle hour, maybe halfway through the show before the intermission break. Like this is the match, and this could have been built to something just magical. And it doesn't even need to be about the wrestling. There's so much story you could tell, so much juice on the vine that I am so disappointed. We went through it weeks ago on what we would like to see happen. Yeah. You don't need to follow what I want for me to like it. Just do something. Something is better than nothing. And I can't wait to not care about this.
Yeah, Rikishi is their dad. It would have been great to see him as the special guest referee, the ring enforcer, anything. Yeah, they missed the ball.
Him coming out like 3 Raws ago and trying to say like, yeah, you guys are fighting each other, but like you can't be as evil as you've been. You have to keep it respectful. You are brothers. And then like one of them flipping out and making the other one bleed in front of dad. Like Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
there was so much there, and it's gone.
It is. They missed it.
Let's move on to something that if Bob was lead booker, he would have booked completely differently. It's the Intercontinental Championship match. It's Gunther, the longtime champion, versus Sami Zayn with head coach Chad Gable. Bob, any feelings on this one, or do you not get?
I don't know if you watched Raw at all, but if you didn't, I need you at some point to go back and just check out that clip of Chad Gable coaching Sami Zayn. It's like, why didn't they just put Chad Gable in the match? Like they're making the whole thing about Chad Gable now because everybody wants Chad Gable, and Chad Gable's going to be in the corner reading on Sami Zayn. Just make it.
He's going to throw the towel for Sami. It's going to be the Rocky moment. We're reliving Rocky.
Holy shit! Imagine if they do that.
That's what they're going to do.
Oh man, this is great. I love this thing. Then this is the best. I hope they do this. I love everything about this storyline. Yeah, but no, I hate the situation that they have put me in as a fan. Like I love Sami Zayn, but now I'm like a little like bummed about him having a major match at WrestleMania because I wanted to see it someone else. But yeah, this whole build has been a mess, and they're just trying to make it work at the last second with this coach hype video vignette, and it worked a little bit, but it's just a misstep. They should have had Gable win the gauntlet match, but Gunther should retain here. I think. I thought if it was Gable, I would have said take the title off him.
No, I think it's going to be I think it's going to be redoing Rocky. Gable throws in the towel. Sami Zayn won't quit, blah, blah, blah. And then Gable and Sami end up having a feud that leads Gable, hopefully over Sami, into Gunther for the future. But I think it's absolutely going to be a redoing of Rocky. And we've made too many predictions the same way so far, my guy. We got to start going differently here. Maybe we will go differently in the Women's World Championship match. It's Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Now, this build I have enjoyed watching. These two people I care about, and I care about the wrestling that's going to happen. I care about who's going to come out on top. Also on the Ariel Helwani pay-per-view. His podcast
MMA
should have
Hour.
been a pay-per-view. Guarantee we would have made some money on it. They had a little physical altercation here, Rhea Ripley and Becky Lynch. So this match has been worthy of WrestleMania build. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, it took a while to get there. They killed some time with Becky Lynch, like feuding with Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, who both seem to have nothing to do at WrestleMania now.
Nothing to do.
Yeah, that's disappointing, especially for Liv
She's
Morgan.
Becky's also was feuding with Charlotte based on the book that she recently put out there.
Yeah, yeah, true. Becky hates everyone apparently, and Ronda Rousey can't wrestle. But anyways, yeah, this match. The build to me really just started a little over a week ago with the emotional promo when Rhea Ripley.
Well, they did do that. Not to cut you off, they did do the big press conference, but that was obviously before we knew who was going to be fighting who.
Right. But that one like made it obvious to me that Lynch was winning the women's elimination chamber. But yeah,
they'll pull footage from that for the 5-minute video build before they do the entrances.
This is one of those rivalries that really didn't need a big build. Really, the story led two massive stars. Once Rhea Ripley referenced her Becky Lynch's daughter, that was enough. Get personal, get people invested. But I think that I think Rhea Ripley will retain, and I'm making that prediction. I think they're building her to have like this historic Gunther type reign with that title, and I think we're going to be walking into WrestleMania 41 with Rhea Ripley still the women's world champion a year from now. That's my prediction. I don't think Becky Lynch dethroning Rhea Ripley does anything for anyone, because Becky Lynch is going to be a star coming out of WrestleMania, whether she's a champion or not. But that's my prediction. What about you? What are your thoughts about this Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania?
It seems, let me put it this way, especially with WrestleMania, there's always some twists and turns. And right now, when you look at the card, especially the championship matches, like we just did the tag championship match, that's probably the toughest to call because there's so many ways you could go. But with these championship matches on this particular WrestleMania card, it seems obvious where the title changes are and who's going to win what, doesn't it? Like are there any title matches on this card that we aren't like, well, it's going to be so-and-so over so-and-so? So I just think there's going to be some twists and turns along the way because it's never as obvious as it seems. And one of those twists could be Becky Lynch walking out with a championship belt due to something happen out from the outside. Maybe those names that you mentioned that don't have a place on WrestleMania. Maybe it's people who are returning. Maybe it's something to do with Judgment Day finally blowing up in Ripley's face. It shouldn't happen. Ripley should retain. I'm right there with you, but I just see some shenanigans happening in this particular match. That's just me.
Could happen. We'll see.
We shall see. But let's end night one, shall we? Let's whip each other with weight belts. Let's go far too long on TV time. Let's repeat ourselves in a promo. Let's say swear words and bleed, even though we're not allowed to. Let's go to The Rock and Roman Reigns. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Versus Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, a tag match with fantastic stipulations for what will take place on night 2. My guy, we don't need to talk about how we got here. We can talk about some stuff that happened on Raw, but everyone really knows how we got here, what's been happening, how awesome these entrances are going to be, how awesome this moment is going to be. To me, this match could go on 60 minutes, truly. And I'm going to want more of it, even though The Rock probably can't last more than 5 minutes without getting gassed. I want this match to last forever because we know if it's a 60-minute match, 40 minutes of it is Cody Rhodes on the ground writhing in pain. Like that's what's going to happen. But what do you got to say for this one, man? This one puts butts in seats.
Right. And I think we talked about this a while ago, like when the press conference, when The Rock slapped Cody Rhodes, and I said, the Bloodline are definitely going to lose. I thought that the Bloodline would lose this match and have it be a normal one-on-one match, because if the Bloodline wins, they can interfere in the title match between Rhodes and Reigns on night 2. Now I'm completely changed my opinion. You were right on at that moment, too. You said, no, they're going to have the Bloodline win this because The Rock and something's going to be fucking around on night 2. They have to have the Bloodline win this, and you're right.
Cody has the Avengers assemble.
Yeah. Yeah, they have to have the Bloodline. I think, you're right. The Bloodline will win this. Do you think? Here's my question to you, actually. Do you agree with me that the Bloodline would win this match? Is that your prediction, or are you going to go another way?
Finish what you're going to say.
Okay. Well, my question to you was, who would you pin? if you're going to have the bloodline win, would you pin Seth
Seth.
Rollins, who has to, okay, because
Seth is going to take Seth is going to take 2 pins in 2 nights. Actually, you know what? You're not wrong. I do believe storyline. If someone pins Cody, it makes it a lot harder for Cody to come out on top. Maybe Roman pins Cody. I hear you on that one.
Oh, I was going to say, what if The Rock pinned Cody clean, like beat him clean, and then the next night Roman Reigns can't.
Yeah.
Like, there's your storyline.
Here's the thing. You can't do this match without predicting the next match.
Yeah.
So right. I think I'm going to save what I believe should happen for when we break down the main event of night 2. But I will say it's been far too easy for Roman and The Rock getting along so far. And I believe what we've seen from The Rock, a man who now has ownership of this company that he is performing for. I don't believe he's here to stay. I don't believe he's going to be here every week from now until the end of time. I don't believe he's making a return to wrestling, but I do believe this is not the last time we see him in a ring. And this is not the last time he uses himself as a build to the main event of a pay-per-view. So if you believe that this is just a one-shot Rock and he's not going to finish a part of this, either night 1 or night 2, where he sort of leaves breadcrumbs for a future storyline, then I think you're kidding yourself here. Who I think wins? Yeah, I still think it's a bloodline coming out on top, because I do think you have to have the Avengers assemble. The only thing that scares me from picking that is how we've ended the last 2 Monday Night Raws. The last 2 Monday Night Raws, the first one, The Rock's beating the crap out of Cody outside in the ring. The second one, The Rock and Roman are now beating Cody and Seth in the ring over and over again with white belts. Usually they end one show before pay-per-view with the opposite happening in the pay-per-view. So I'd be interested to see if they go 3 straight times. When we see Cody in the ring with these two, he's getting the crap kicked out of him and on the losing end of it. But I just don't know how you tell the story night 2 if Cody wins and it's just him versus Roman. So I'm predicting Bloodline to win. We'll save the rest of the story for night 2. Let's dive into night 2, 40 minutes into the WrestleMania show. Listen, it's WrestleMania. We're going to go long, folks. Okay. But there are also some gimmick matches. We'll put it that way on night 2. Let's start out with one of them. Bob, if I grab the neutral wrestling fan, the guy who's not watching wrestling every week, and I told him that 2 teams are fighting in a Philadelphia street fight, he'd perk his ears up. He'd go, "Oh, what's a Philadelphia street fight in Philadelphia? That sounds interesting."
Wow.
And if you ask that neutral fan, that fan that does not watch wrestling regularly, maybe he catches up for the pay-per-views, but he doesn't watch wrestling regularly. And you asked him, Philadelphia street fight, 6 men are in the match. The Pride versus the Final Testament. How many wrestlers would he be able to name that are actually in the match?
Probably none.
0.
Probably none, unless he saw Bobby Lashley in the street for 6 months ago now. Oh God, let me just talk. Let me just talk about this match.
To answer the question, the Pride, Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits versus the Final Testament, which is Karrion Kross and the Authors of Pain. If you get any of those answers correct, you know wrestling more than the regular guy. Bob, what do you have to say about the Philadelphia street fight?
It's just this is like we talk about. I said the 6-woman tag match was like kind of meaningless in night 1. This is just ridiculous. Like, this is just does not need to be on the card. Get somebody on. Like, this is just nobody cares. Like, nobody cares. That's just a genuine. Like, I like the Street Profits. I like Bobby Lashley. I actually like the Authors of Pain. I love Paul Ellering. That guy is the bald. Is just like a crypt keeper, blast from the past. I love that guy, but they suck the Karrion Kross just had. Whenever you see Karrion Kross, you see like, wow, that guy's talented, but something's missing. I can't put my finger on it, but something is missing, and just it doesn't connect. And this match, this feud has been going on for ages. Karrion Kross eliminated Bobby Lashley at the Royal Rumble. After Karrion Kross was eliminated, he eliminated Bobby Lashley, taking away his WrestleMania dreams. And this is where it ends up. We got this stupid 6-man tag where I don't care who wins, but I'm going to say the Pride, because I don't think WWE believes in Karrion Kross at all at this point. That's my opinion. The Pride win because. What do you think?
Fair enough. You're going to ask me who I think wins?
Yeah.
I think I win, because during this time I'll be ordering my pizza for the second night of WrestleMania 2. I'll be putting in the order. Do I want extra pepperoni? Do I want extra sauce? Add a side of ranch. Get me some Coca-Cola. put in my address, and then finally, when that's all done, I'll pick up, and someone will have their hand raised, and I'll go, good for them. When do we start WrestleMania? That's who's gonna win this match. It's gonna be me and the pepperoni pizza that's getting delivered to my house. Let's go to the next match. Now, this match, I wanted better for both competitors, but it's WrestleMania. Not everyone gets a title match. Not everyone gets top of the card. I do believe they've done a fun job building this match between two wrestlers I really enjoy, both in the ring and out. LA Knight versus AJ Styles. I know, Bob, you want to see two of these guys do better things, especially LA Knight. Yeah. But I'm excited to see what happens here.
Yeah, I thought that they kind of salvaged this with the build, with the home invasion angle. It was wacky. LA Knight dressing up as a producer, a cameraman with the mustache and beating the hell out of Styles. Like, that was fun. And they'll deliver. AJ Styles, LA Knight is an incredible entertainer and a solid wrestler. AJ Styles is a solid entertainer and an incredible
one of the best wrestlers in the world. Yeah.
So you put those two together, they can create magic. So I'm hoping they have a surprisingly very good match. But I think you got to go with LA Knight getting the win here. But that you could go either way. You could continue the storyline to SummerSlam if you want. But I'm going to go LA Knight gets the win. Yeah, or SummerLand. Yeah, that's a but yeah,
I'll go opposite just to be opposite. Okay. I agree with you, though. This is a true 50-50 coin flip. I don't know who wins, who loses. I cannot wait to watch it. I think I'll be very much entertained. And I think I don't think it's going to be a regular wrestling match. Like, I think there's going to be some shenanigans in here. We don't have that, Sami Zayn versus the Jackass team in this WrestleMania yet. So I think LA Knight, especially with the character that he is, and AJ Styles is a very comedic guy himself. I think that could be some shenanigans here, even though they haven't announced any type of gimmick to this match. But I'm going with AJ Styles for sure. Let's move on now. The United States triple threat match. The reason why the Prime logo is on the wrestling mat. It's Logan Paul, who is the champion. Never forget, Logan Paul is a wrestling champion at this point in our lives, versus Randy Orton and Kevin Owens, two of the most veteran wrestlers in the company. This triple threat match, man. I've been done doubting Logan Paul for a while now. That dude, we've commended him before on this very podcast about how into Logan Paul, the wrestler, we are. I think he thinks about things the right way. I think he looks at this whole organization and this whole moment as in the right mindset. He's not just here to put himself over type thing. I do think he does love the business, and him working with two excellent wrestlers who have been around the block. I'm expecting a lot out of this match, man.
Yeah, me too. And I enjoyed Logan Paul's feud with Kevin Owens heading into the Royal Rumble. The finish to that match with the brass knuckles and Kevin Owens getting caught using it. This whole build has been great. Logan Paul he's stunned me with how great he is already. He's had like 13 matches in his career or something ridiculous, and he's like in the top 15% of the people on the roster in terms of able to have a match. He's that damn good. But my prediction for this one is that Logan Paul retains by pinning Kevin Owens, and then they have Logan Paul versus Randy Orton in a singles match at SummerSlam or something like that. But I think that they've already done the Logan Paul and Kevin Owens feud. I think they have him beat him again. Kevin Owens takes the pin, and then Randy Orton and Logan Paul have a singles feud for the title. That's my prediction for this. What about you?
I think the United States Championship needs to be defended more regularly on WWE television. So I believe a regular wrestler will win this match. And I believe it's going to be Randy Orton. I agree with you, though. Building towards another Logan Paul feud with one of these guys is a good way to go. But I believe we get RKOs out of nowhere all over the place to end this match. Like, he's RKOing some dude in a Prime outfit. Like, he's just RKOs all over the place, all over the joint. And I think Randy comes out on top because I think he kind of got a win stolen from him already by Logan Paul. So to have another win stolen from him where he's not part of the finish would be, I don't know, be kind of repeat storytelling. And Kevin Owens, we're throwing Kevin Owens under the bus here with nothing given off to him. But I do believe Kevin Owens has reached that point of his career where I love Kevin Owens. I love KO. But does it matter if he wins or loses? No, really.
No, he's someone I would love to see in AEW in a year or so. But that just I would love to see him and Zayn go there. That would be really good.
If Sami Zayn goes anywhere, give him a goddamn haircut. So you got Logan, I got Randy Orton. Let's move on to the last three matches here, and all of them are championship matches, all on night 2. It's Io Sky versus Bayley for the WWE Women's Championship match. You said earlier on this show that this build started out very hot. It was the right person to win the Rumble. The way they told this story in the beginning was well done, and I agree with you. But it's kind of fizzled out since then. And what do you mean by that? And are you still excited for this match?
I don't know. It's just I was expecting a little more interest in like the promos back and forth after they betrayed her. I was just expecting them to hook me in a little more, but they got me for the most part. And but I was just I thought they had something really special here, and now it's kind of like it's people looking forward to it, but it's not one of the most talked about matches heading into the show at all. No. I thought they had a chance to be. So that's what I mean by a little bit of a letdown here, but still an entertaining rivalry. And I think you got to give Bayley the win here. She won the Women's Royal Rumble. Io Sky has been champion since SummerSlam 2023 when she cashed in. Decent title reign, but she can't really cut a promo. They don't have like a manager. Like if you want to elevate that title, you got to give it to someone like Bayley who can cut a promo and carry segments with other people. People have to carry segments with Io Sky, unfortunately. So we'll see. But they could keep the title on or have Dakota Kai or someone else get involved, but I think Bayley defeats Io Sky clean and is the new WWE Women's Champion. What do you think about this match? Do you think we're going to be seeing a new champion crowned at WrestleMania?
I think the neutral fan watching this WrestleMania, I brought him up a lot, him or her up a lot, because it's true. WrestleMania gets the most neutral viewers. It's a name that holds brand value. I believe the 5-minute video package leading up to this match will have everyone invested. I agree with you. The week-to-week watcher is kind of like, well, this build didn't really reach what it could be, but this is long-term storytelling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've been around, they've been together forever. It's finally the breakup now. This to me could open up night 2. Like, Curtain Jerker, this opens up night 2. It's definitely a WrestleMania match. Yeah. And I agree with you. I think Bayley wins. That's the prediction. As I said, man, one of these predictions is going to be wrong. Like one of these, we're going to get a swerve somewhere. And it won't be Swerve, sadly, but we're going to get a swerve somewhere. And I don't think it's this one, but that's why I kind of picked the other one in the Rhea Ripley match. Like one of these championship matches is not going the way we thought. You have one more thing to say before we move on?
No. I don't. I don't have anything to say.
All right. Thanks for
what's the next match? I was just in my own head, but go ahead.
Last two matches have to do with the tag team match a little bit the night before. The first one is Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. The second one is the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. Let's start with Seth versus Drew. Bob, I've been kicking it to you first this whole entire show. I want to go first here. If they don't put the title on Drew McIntyre, I'll eat my hat at this point. If this was available to be bet on, I think Drew McIntyre would be a -1,000,000 favorite. There is no chance Seth walks out of night 2 with a belt around his waist. However, on the prediction side of things, based on what happens in night 1 and why I think Seth Rollins is taking that pin, and I agree with you, though, having Cody take the pin in the tag match makes a lot of sense from a storytelling perspective, but I believe Seth is taking the pin after being beaten down to a pulp because I truly believe Seth is as injured as can be as a working wrestler. Yeah. He will be leaving this to get a bunch of surgeries on a bunch of different things, and I think if you beat him down during the tag match, I think it builds so much of Drew McIntyre's his story of I want to lift that title after a hard-fought win in front of real fans for the first time. I think it'd be so true if this is a squash. If this is an absolute Seth has been ripped apart by The Rock and Roman Reigns. He's coming out with tape all over him. He's limping to the ring. He doesn't have that normal, like cheering the crowd, all this stuff. And Drew McIntyre just fucking squashes him in front of CM Punk, in front of everyone. Doesn't get a true win. Doesn't let the heel get over true on Seth Rollins. He was already beaten up the day before, and he comes out, wins that belt, and doesn't also for Drew himself get that comeuppance of lifting the title up after he deserved the victory. No, he was a stepping stone. Seth was a stepping stone. So that's how I perceive it happening. Obviously, I could be wrong. Seth could be fine. He could put on 2 bangers 2 nights in a row. We don't know. He's one of the best wrestlers, best gifted athletes in that company or in the world when it comes to wrestling. But that's how I perceive it happening. And if this is a prediction show, this episode of the podcast is a prediction podcast. That's what I predict happening at WrestleMania. What do you think for Drew and Seth?
Well, we've talked about this rivalry of Drew McIntyre, like a number of different angles with like his contract situation. Is he's going to be re-signing? Well, they last night announced Clash at the Castle in Scotland in June. Drew McIntyre is re-signed, and he's headlining that pay-per-view as the World Heavyweight Champion. So I agree with everything you just said. Drew McIntyre has to win this match. They could do, again, they could extend the rivalry. They could do some kind of finish, and while Punk is like, they could, but I think Punk might be back by June. That's 6 months. So that might be where they're going to have McIntyre and Punk headline that one in Scotland, the Clash at the Castle. But yeah, I think
he'll be there in June and injured by SummerSlam.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, true. But Drew McIntyre is on the best run of his career. He's found his voice. He's found his character. He is a heel that everybody loves. He's the ultimate heel, and he should walk out of WrestleMania as champion. I agree.
Some would call him the chosen one.
Yeah. Who said that?
Name him. Name him.
What paragon of virtue said that? All right, moving on.
One more thing, though. I know he's not physically clear. Before we move on to the main event, this has nothing to do with your prediction nor mine, but do you think CM Punk factors into the decision? Rises up from the commentary desk and does something?
Only if Drew McIntyre hits him with a Claymore like mid-match. Like if someone runs over while he's on commentary and just decks him. Maybe that's how they squeak out a weird way to have Rollins win. Like Drew McIntyre decks him, CM Punk gets in the ring, and then because Drew McIntyre has been obsessed with Punk. It cost him on Raw. Yeah, he did a line that quoted Eminem, like "my dearest fan Phil" or whatever, and then Rollins hit him with a stomp because he was too focused on Punk. So there is a story there with McIntyre accusing Rollins of being distracted by everything, but McIntyre has 2 shirts with CM Punk on it, and is just like obsessed with him. So there is a story, a way to get Punk involved and also cost McIntyre in a good way, like in storyline, and it makes sense, and people won't get pissed if they can extend the rivalry.
As we reach the hour mark or close to it on this podcast, we enter the final match of the evening. It's Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, mano a mano for the championship that matters, the Universal whatever title. Paul Heyman getting inducted into the Hall of Fame 2 days prior. Roman Reigns will be the one inducting him. This has been the climb to the mountaintop of Roman Reigns' entire career. We're seeing documentaries about Roman Reigns, his brother talking to him in a WWE interview, how proud he is of him, the push for Roman Reigns to get to this moment, and to have it, as we've said on this podcast, kind of be overshadowed by The Rock. A man who this match was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. We know that. We know that at this point. That's what they wanted to build to, either last WrestleMania or this WrestleMania. But instead, the world spoke. And then we put Cody in this position to usurp the king, the acknowledged one, Roman Reigns. The tag match the night before will tell us the stipulation on this evening. We both told you that we think the bloodline is winning, so there will be shenanigans afoot during this match. Bob, this is a WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I've gone back and forth on this one, like I truly, you know how this storyline's good is I have no idea what they're going to do in this match. It makes so much logical sense to have Cody Rhodes win because he lost last year, but realistically, they could have Cody Rhodes lose and everybody flip out again, and then everybody's tuning in on Raw to see what he says. Like they have people that much, so they could go in either direction. I just think for sanity's sake, they're going to have Cody Rhodes win just to protect themselves from the onslaught of angry Cody crybabies, as The Rock calls them, that will flip out if he doesn't. But I think it's storyline. I think it makes sense for Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes has to win this match, in my opinion. He won the Men's Royal Rumble. He lost to Roman Reigns last year with the bloodline interference. If it happens again this year, it's the same story again. So I think they're going to have Cody Rhodes emerge victorious, clean, outlasting interference from The Rock, Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, Paul Heyman. I think he's going to overcome it all somehow with Mama Rhodes in the front row, and he's going to give that title belt to her at the end of the night with 40,000 tears rolling down his cheeks. And that's how WrestleMania is going to end, with Cody Rhodes crying with Mama Rhodes. What do you think? Do you agree with me there?
If this match, for the entirety of the match, lasts in the ring, I will be surprised. Because so much of this build, and mostly on The Rock's side, but so much of this build has been about people who aren't going to be in the center of that ring. It's been about Mama Rhodes. It has been about the bloodline, the outsiders, the interference. It has been about Seth and Jey Uso and the people who Roman has stabbed in the back before. It has been about, even online, people who aren't in the company, like Arn Anderson, like Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
There have been so many outside influences to this build that if it's just a one-on-one in the center of the ring and like some stuff to the outside and to the, thrown into the barricade and stuff, there's no chance. There's no chance that's how it finishes. I think this match goes all over. I think this is a cameo match. I do think there's a genuine non-zero possibility that Dustin Rhodes shows up in some capacity. Like, I think it is going to be the end of the Avengers. Thanos is on one side, who has all of his, beings, and then Cody is saved by his friends and people that Thanos has pissed off before. And I think everyone shows up to help Cody get the win and be the good guys. And then the final shot is not just Cody crying to his mom, but it's Cody on the shoulders of every guy in the back. Like, they bring out the whole entire roster to rise Cody up. This is a win not only for Cody, but this is a win for WWE. We've finally beaten the big one. And I also believe there's a very, very big chance that The Rock puts himself over here. That the reason why Roman loses is because of The Rock. And I hope that does not happen. I hope that the deciding factor isn't Hulk Hogan during Yokozuna and Bret Hart. Like, I hope that that's not what we get here. But I could definitely see it as a possibility. My pick is Cody. I think it's going to be a wonderful Hollywood-esque cinematic feat. And what would devastate me is the same Roman match we've had for the past 2 years, where it's mostly in the ring. Roman gets beaten down. Solo Sikoa comes in. 1, 2, 3. Roman wins. If that happens, I could not tell you how angry I will be. But I think just the way this is what we've been waiting for. And even if Roman wins, I think the way they shoot this and film this match and go up with this match, I think this is what we've been waiting for. I'm very excited for it, as you can tell.
Yeah, I agree. It's just, this is a WrestleMania main event. This is a 2 years of build, pretty much. Cody Rhodes returned to WrestleMania 38, and his whole entire goal was to win this title. And we're here at WrestleMania 40 after he failed last year. And I think we both think he's going to get it done, but we've been wrong before, and we'll be wrong again.
Yeah. Let's end the show though, buddy. WrestleMania. We might have a live show during it, so we can do a better version of this headlines game after we know what happens at WrestleMania. But if we don't happen to record during WrestleMania, the next time we record is not only after Mania, but after the Monday Night Raw, after another Wednesday Dynamite. Want to build to God knows what they're building on AEW. Let's play headlines, man. Last thing we're going to do. What's the headline? What is everyone talking about at this point next week in the wrestling world?
I think Dominic Mysterio is going to be leaving the Judgment Day. What? Was there a mistake?
No, that's great. That's great. I guarantee you, even if that happens, 0 people will be talking about Dominic Mysterio leaving.
Oh, you greatly underestimate his fan base. You greatly underestimate the power of Dirty Dom. You greatly underestimate him. If he leaves the Judgment Day, the most popular faction on Raw, people are talking about it. And I will make sure to write 10 articles about it on Sportskeeda to make sure the wrestling public are talking about it.
Everyone's going to be talking about how Chris Jericho led Hook to his championship defending the FTW, whatever. That's the equivalent.
People actually like Dominic.
Of what you give me. I like Dominic. I'm just saying. The first match of the card, we said we don't care. It's Rey Mysterio and Rey Mysterio Jr. versus Dominic and Eddie Guerrero. Like, we don't care. Like, nobody cares. Right. My headline will be headline will be AEW is in the gutter, and I'm very disappointed about it. That's all. But you know what my headline won't be? Anything having to do with Ryback. Have a fun WrestleMania weekend.